Well, if you thought the East Palestine train derailment was over, well, guess again. Now, a new study has just surfaced stating that this disaster has hit 16 different states. The question is this something we should be worried about? Now, obviously, this is not as bad as something like Chernobyl or Fukushima. However, a lot of the times they like to keep this information under wraps, and I believe that is obviously in play with East Palestine. Now, there's a lot of information I've got to show you on that. But before I do, check out my sponsor at Noble Gold Investments on YouTube. They are your trusted source for independent financial news and education. Come get expert insight on gold, silver, and precious metal investments on videos. The videos are designed to be short and easy to understand, perfect for your busy lifestyle. Stay informed with the latest updates on market trends and investment opportunities. Discover how investing in precious metals can secure your financial future. Learn from industrial experts who break down complex topics into simple, actionable advice. Noble Gold Investments is here to help you. They are independent thinkers who meet financial expertise. Subscribe now and take control of your financial destiny. All you got to do is go to the description box below and check out the link in there. If you're on your cell phone, click that More button to get more information. All right, back to the broadcast. With that, let's dive into what is going on still in East Palestine, or what's the latest update on what's going on in the area, because of course the mainstream media for the most part has been silent or just putting it on one article and kind of pushing it aside, like this one, the Washington Post. Pollution from East Palestine train derailment rained down in 16 states, a study says. Now, people closer to the accident have reported rashes, nausea, headaches, but the study authors said the low concentration farther away from the accident weren't toxic, but are pretty unusual in a lot of places. Now, the actual derailment happened on February 3rd, 2023. It was a train carrying toxic chemicals crashed in northeastern Ohio, sending up a large black cloud over Ohio and Pennsylvania after officials decided to burn off the hazardous material. As the chemicals lofted into the air and the pollution spread as far as 16 states, according to a new study. Now, here is the actual study. It was put on iopscience.iop.org. And you can see it's a fairly newly published, July 19th, 2024 is the date this thing was published. But here is what the abstract states, right? On February 3rd, 2023, a Norfolk Southern train derailment occurred in East Palestine, Ohio. The accident and subsequent fire resulted in the emissions of large amounts of hazardous compounds to the ambient atmosphere over many days. We used precipitation chemistry measurements routinely collected by the National Atmospheric Deposition Program, NADP, to estimate the spatial extent and chemical compounds deposited as a result of the accident. Our measures reveal a large aerial impact from the Midwest through the Northeast and even likely Canada, and perhaps as far south as North Carolina. Portions of 16 states, 1.4 million kilometers. Observationists showed the expected high chloride concentrates, but also unexpected high pH and exceptionally elevated levels of base exceeding the 99th percentiles versus the historic record. These results were consistent with the meteorological conditions and atmospheric trajectories and were not due to highly concentrated low volume precipitation samples or wildfires. The robust measurements of the NADP network clearly show that the impacts of the fire were larger in scale and scope than the initial projections, as they always tend to be, and likely due to the uplift from the fire itself entertaining pollutants into the atmosphere. So there's the entire abstract. Now, to give you an idea of what contents, just as a reminder, what was inside these trains? Well, this little thing is, very, very bad for your health, to say the least. Vinyl chloride, carcinogens were literally inside this thing. You can see a little bit of what else was released there in that. So you have paraffin wax, salmonella, and many other things there that were inside this thing. Now, as far as the states, which it hit, you can see all of this area here. These are kind of the 16 states, but it breaks it down into Canada, New York. It goes down a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of hit some of the states, Ontario through Maine. It goes on a little bit and even mentions this Virginia right here, Virginia, then back to the Northeast, Canada, New York, Maine, Midwest, and Northwest, and then on to Lake Michigan, Maine to Minnesota, kind of that whole area there. So there's kind of the picture of all the 16 states. And by the way, that is 1/3 of our country, about a third of our country. But it says clearly for multiple days, hazardous classified chemicals were released into the atmosphere, both from spilled cargo and from the fire that they started. Much of the accident's impacts upon the surrounding population and environment requires, they say, further study. In other words, this study isn't enough. More studies need to be done, including a complete accounting of the emissions and aerial impact. In other words, at the conclusion of this study, they're stating that they still don't have enough information and more study needs to be done. In other words, it hit 16 states. And yes, we see there are initial impacts that really hurt people, caused rashes and nausea and Lord only knows what else, because we don't really know the long-term effects, kind of like a lot of other things right now, right? We don't know the long-term effects of Fukushima or, Chernobyl either. Actually, we do. They just don't like to talk about them, right? Oh, just turn the other way. Now, going back to this article on the Washington Post, I want to show you what David Gay, the lead author of the study, told Washington Post. He said, "I didn't expect to see an impact this far out," said David Gay, the lead author of the study. "There's more going on here than most people have guessed, including me." There's a lot more going on in this thing, right? He goes on, "It's not death and destruction. It's fairly low concentrations, but they are very high relative to the normal that we typically see. Some of the highest we've measured in the last 10 years. It goes on to state this, and the next person that says this is Julianne Beret, a leading expert on the effect of vinyl chloride, right, very toxic, at the University of Pittsburgh, who was not involved in the study, right? But here's what she had to say. "This kind of study is unique and elegant, as it clearly documents the impact of these kinds of accidents or the things that these accidents have." She goes on to state that this is not the first time researchers have seen distal effects of local environmental events, and it's unclear what long-term impact such environmental exposures could have on the communities. Therefore, I think we should be concerned, she says. Well, yeah, you spill a bunch of toxic chemicals into the ground and atmosphere, that's probably not going to be a good thing. Just like what I keep warning everybody about, these Roundup and chemicals, all this crap that we keep throwing on our land, these genetically modified foods, these pesticides, these crazy things that they're doing to a lot of our food supply. We just don't know, quite frankly, a lot of the long-term effects and the effects that things like pesticide and these Roundups can have on the environment. Right? So I wanted to bring that to your attention. I know they like to kind of push these things under the rug, but since I'm a real person out there giving you truth and information, that is why I'm here, to tell you the truth of what is really going on, because the mainstream media likes to print one article and then kind of stuff it down the way and say, oh, we reported on it, done, we did our due diligence. But yet I haven't even heard a lot of people bringing this back up, but it's very important to know, especially if you live in one of these 16 states, you really need to know how much it impacted your state and should you take any precautions. And the long answer is they're saying, oh, it's, kind of calmed down. Right. In a lot of those states, the initial stuff was all in the beginning. In other words, it's too late now. If you live in one of those 16 states, you've already been impacted because most of it happened in the first 3 or 4 weeks, according to the study. Too late now. Whoops. It would have been nice to know at the very forefront and done it immediately. Hopefully you guys took precautions anyway. But bottom line, they still don't know the long-term effects of some of these things, right? Just like some of the other mega disasters that we have. So always take precautions immediately if you're in a bubble of that area, just a heads up. As a quick reminder, if you really want to be in the know, get to restrictedrepublic.com. Right now, you can get it for $3.99 per month. Use the coupon code RR and the number 4. That's RR and the number 4. And you can get it at that rate for 2 years. This is less than a glass of beer, less than a cup of coffee. It's a way that you can support us and keep us on air. As you know, we are massively under attack. They've been attacking our advertisers and everything. A lot of them have dropped. Please get to Restricted Republic, sharing on restrictedrepublic.com. So go there right now and check it out and use that coupon code. Anyhow, I love you all. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.